WW7ATS. That's Google WW7ATS. That will take you to our homepage on the internet. There you'll see the exact frequency receive on to YouTube, where we stream our nets held Wednesdays and Saturdays between 8 and 9 o'clock. Also, we'd like to thank the SeaTac Repeater Association for letting us use WW7STR's repeater 147.08. And note, you'll need a tone of 103.5 to communicate with this net. Again, you'll need a tone of 103.5 to communicate with this net. So on behalf of the Western Washington Amateur Television Society, I'll pause in case anybody has an emergency traffic or needs to make a contact before the net gets fully underway.
N7KC.
Television Society Net. This is Dave, KD7ZYM. So far, 7. Lee, Angeles. K9PQ, Bob in Bothell. Richard in Phoenix. N7QO in Covington, Jim. WU7N, Northeast Bellevue, James. And myself, Dave, KD7ZYM. Is there anybody else wishing to check in?
07 Sierra Delta Mike, Ryan in North Seattle. Just probably going to be lurking tonight and checking out the stream. Thanks.
And thank you all. Well, we'll start off the net this evening with Ron, KD7QKU.
Okay, well, good evening to everyone. This is Ron over in Tacoma, KD7QKU. I think it's kind of windy outside. I was thinking of what I did today. I've been thinking about some new computers or a new iPad. I think I'm going to do an iPad for myself, maybe. But today I brought the pickup up when out there, and I had a CB radio in the pickup along with a 2-meter 70 centimeter radio. I don't need this CB radio in there anymore. We used it with our motorhome. So I had put it in, I think, when the pickup was brand new, 2006, and underneath the dash with my bifocals and try to get my arms in there. I haven't done that for so long. I had a terrible time, and I you know, wire tied all the wires and everything up and routed them really well, and gee, many Christmas, I had to undo all that stuff. It was just not used tomorrow from twisting and turning. But anyway, I got it out, and I taken the antenna off. It was an antenna that fit in the crack between the hood and the fender. And my ATV's blinking off and on. It just went out. My light is going from green to red, so it's I think it's weather related. But anyway, good to see everybody. Bob, yeah, I'm really sorry to hear about. We had kind of the same thing happen one time. We came home and our poor old cat was sort of dragging her back. We take block in there or something, and something happens to him. So we had to have her put down too. And she was my favorite cat. She loved me. She loved me. Everything else would have had loves Joanne, but that cat liked me. As soon as I sat down, man, she. But anyway, we name, I guess. I'm not pronouncing it right, but that's what my mother-in-law called her or something, and so that's what I called her. So anyway, all right, back to net, KD7QKU.
KD7QKU, thanks with that. Well, let's go to Port Angeles to Lee, N7KC.
Okay. Lee here in Port Angeles, N7KC. Good evening, all. I may pull out in a little bit. We'll see. Paul is nursing a vertigo problem, so kind of watching over her a little bit. It was a balmy day here. We were like this morning at that time at 7:30. I check into the WW7 every morning at 7:30. I was 47, 48 degrees here. I mean, gosh, it's amazing. And we had a half a dozen raindrops today. We were hoping it would rain a little bit. We were way behind. You know, I don't think we've had 3/4 of an inch of rain this month so far. And January was really, really light. So we're not starting the year off very well, and the river's low. Anyway, I don't have a lot to say. I just thought it'd be fun to see all the digital goings on tonight. So, yeah, well, I told Bob this morning by email that our cat, our male Jimbo, big guy, he was, well, I don't know, 10, I guess, 11, and he wasn't feeling too good. It was pretty obvious, and so we took him to the vet, and they palpated his abdomen and said, "There's a big mass in here." And so they x-rayed him, and he was pushing his kidneys clear up into his spine. It was a big cancer. So Jimbo didn't come home with us, and so it was pretty rough on Heather, who he and Heather had homeschooled together. They were, what do you call it, when they, anyway, so we got them as a pair because they didn't want them split up. They were really good buddies. And oh my gosh, I don't think she's over it yet. She just hollers at night, you know, looking for that cat and so forth. So I kind of said, you know, when it's all said and done, I kind of wished we had brought him home so that, you know, so she'd have some idea that he had passed on. That might have been a fair thing to do. But as it was, why, instead of a private cremation, which was horribly expensive, he went into a group cremation and then was scattered in an apple orchard someplace down in Oregon. So we thought, well, that was okay. And it was still expensive. I mean, $700, you know, just to do that. So, and it's more than a person, I think. Anyway, it was all very sad, but then, you know, that's what happened. And I've been kind of following the asteroid story here that might get pretty close in 2032. That's been kind of fun to pay attention to. Every time they get observations, the probability increases a little bit about the probability of an impact. So we'll see how that comes down. Anyway, I'm going to knock it off here, and Dave, send it back to you. Really, really handy. There's a timer on the Echo Link phone now. I've been 3 minutes and 30 seconds, so I got to quit. Dave, or this is 7KC Lee at Port Angeles. Thank you, Dave.
Timeout. Timeout.
And on to Bothell Bob, K9PQ.
Hey, well, I'm having a bit of a hard time receiving the repeater at the moment. How am I getting in?
The repeater is being very spastic, you might say, this evening. It keeps flashing back red to green, and not very stable. It must be a wind condition. up on the Cougar Mountain.
Connected K7ITX. Connected N7KC.
And this is Dave, KD7CYM. We got a good picture of Sparky up now. Go ahead, Bob.
I don't know what the Cougar Mountain thing was about. Yeah, so as you know, as you guys know from my email, Sparky is gone, and it's been tough. And you guys have probably just about all of you, if not all of you, have been through it, so you know how it is. This is actually only the second time I've been through this. The first cat I had lived 19 and a half years, and it was a very cut and dried case with him. He just got old and he stopped eating, and so after about 2 or 3 days of trying to get him to eat and he wouldn't, that was it. With Sparky, it was a much tougher decision. You wouldn't know it by looking at her that she had anything wrong with her. She was very healthy, in great shape, but just the legs were not working, and she seemed to be in some pain, and so I had to do it. So yeah, that's my big thing, and then the other big thing, of course, is getting ready to put my condo on the market, and you'll be shocked to find I've been procrastinating on that. But yeah, I'm getting that going, and I'll have it on the market in about the second week in March is our plan, so we'll see how that goes. Okay, I'll send it back, and this is K9PQ, back to Nat.
Thanks with that. Let's go down. ATX. What say you, Richard?
Well, we say we're real sad for Bob losing Sparky. I dread the day that we lose Mika. Mika is, I think, probably about 16 years old. So when they get that age, well, she doesn't hear quite as good. A few things about her. She can't jump like she used to. It's just what happens. So yeah, no, it's just a sad time. Sorry to hear about that, Bob. So anyway, a lot of interesting air turbulence lately. How about that Toronto airliner on landing flipped totally upside down, and the people came out alive? Isn't that a miracle from God, if I've ever heard of one? And then, but sadly, there was a mid-air collision today in the Phoenix area. I don't know that much about it, but 2 people lost their lives. But the one in Toronto, I thought I'm remembering it was Ontario, one or the other. So, and the video of it is just incredible, how the wings just peeled off. Remind me not to fly in a plane that's landing in a, well, I wouldn't call it a blizzard, but, high winds and snow. That doesn't seem like a very fun time to be. Well, I don't know. The jury's out. Maybe the pilots didn't, factor their conditions correctly. I guess that anything's possible, and that would be one of them. Human error. Human error enters into this quite often. So anyway, let's see. 1 second. And then, of course, another doctor's appointment, this time with the kidney doctor. And he has diagnosed the bad taste in my mouth from impurities in my system, so I wasn't too happy to hear about that. I guess they have some way to adjust the machine that I'm using to help clear that up, but the sooner the better, because I'm slowly, well, I don't know, maybe it is good that I'm losing weight and not eating as much. K7ITX, back in that control.
With that. Well, coming up next is Jim in Covington, N7QO.
N7QO, thank you, Dave. Good evening, everyone. Well, Ron, yeah, working under the dash. I can certainly identify with that. My vision is not what it used to be. Wow. It's a real challenge. Sometimes it's like I need reading glasses for the whole glass rather than just the bottom part. And when you're lying on your back upside down working, it sometimes seems like you need that. Oh well, part of getting older, I guess. Lee, a balmy day. Yeah, well, it's been warm here as well. It's a little bit cooler now, but you feel it more because it's a bit breezy here, and everything is all wet. We did get a fair amount of rain this afternoon. It didn't rain hard, but it rained for a couple of hours anyway. So everything is pretty saturated. Yeah, wow, your cat, Jimbo, cancer. I have my next door neighbor's cat, I think, is like that. The abdomen is definitely hanging down close to the ground, and it's not because the cat has been eating a whole lot, so I suspect my neighbor's cat is short to this world as well. I don't know. Wow, I was surprised to hear what they would charge for a group cremation. That's just incredible for such a small animal, I think. But maybe that's just me. An asteroid 2032. We'll have to watch out for that. Maybe we could nuke it if it gets too close or something. Bob, yeah, my condolences regarding Sparky. I don't know, we're all going to miss her. Sorry about that. Your other cat lived 19 and a half years? That is astounding. That's great. And Dick, yeah, kidney doctor, bad taste in your mouth. It sounds like you're going backward just a little bit. I know the pace forward is not always a non-negative direction. Sometimes there'll be a little bit of a step back. We'll all pray that you find a kidney donor sometime in the near future, and that works as smoothly as your lung transplant there. Good luck with that. And yeah, Roger, the aircraft crashes. Man, I heard that sometimes things happen in threes, but isn't this like the fourth crash that we've seen? Maybe even a fifth one, I think. Amazing. And yeah, it's good that the fuselage held together on that airplane, and that there wasn't any significant fire over there at the fuselage. Everyone got out okay. Well, maybe a couple people were banged up, but no one got seriously hurt, I don't think. Maybe they'll let us know tomorrow if there were any more serious injuries. But at least preliminary, the investigation seems like everyone is relatively okay. So that's good. And back to you, Dave, and 7QO.
N7QO, thanks. Let's go to James, WU7ATS.
Reminder to everybody, we're on the Cougar Mountain repeater tonight with the 103.5 PL tone, so you really have to push the button and count 1 Mississippi 2 before you start talking. Well, Ron, getting that CB radio out, that does sound like an accomplishment. And if there was no blood drawn, then I think you're way ahead on that. Wow, a cat that liked you a lot. Well, there's no accounting for taste, but I guess that's the way it goes sometimes. I had a cat that I actually got to know quite well when I was renting a room from someone, and then she needed to find that cat a home. So when I brought it over to my house, it knew who I was, but of course it was a new house for it. And I remember it took quite an adjustment period before it kind of got used to things around here. But she passed away, was deaf as a board all the time I owned her, and that in of itself caused for some odd behaviors. But, you know, you just get so attached to these pets when they leave, it really is tough. Condolences. To Paula, I hope she gets the gyroscope stabilized soon. That does not sound like fun at all, so I hope she heals quickly. And yeah, Jim, not a good month for aviation safety. I'm losing count. I think we've lost 2 F-35s, and an F-18 Growler went down off the coast of California in the San Diego. In terms of casualties, and then there's the flipped over thing, which to me, I mean, there was someone on a Reddit thread asked one of the people there what it was like, and she answered all these questions, and she said when they flipped over, there was a huge orange glow on one side of the aircraft, and then when they opened one of the emergency exits, jet fuel poured into the cabin. That would not make me feel good, the combination of those two things. And so maybe all the snow and the very fast response from the the crash crew helped there, because they got the fire knocked down very quickly. And the other weird thing is they were all hanging upside down by their seatbelts. And so one of the questions was... one of the questions was anybody not wearing their seatbelt? And the person was responding on the Reddit thread said if they weren't wearing their seatbelt, they really got hurt badly, because that seatbelt was the only thing that kept you from just being bounced around like a ping pong ball in a lottery drawing, because the whole thing just flipped over. So it was an interesting thread to read, all the questions, and also this sense of surreal feeling about coming so close to dying in a disaster, and then ending up with, I guess she said she had slight windburn or frostbite or something from standing out so long, out in the very cold wind, which is a pretty minor casualty considering what that airplane went through. I'm happy for a little warmer temperatures here. I went out on a walk today, and it seemed like it was difficult to do the walk. I don't know why I'm tired. I slept okay last night, but I was really tired, so I got the walk done. I was going to go out and do a few things, and I just decided I would call it quits and maybe go out and do a few errands tomorrow instead. So anyway, it was good to have some warm weather to walk around in. Caught the weather before the rain showers. And Lee, I wish I could send some of this rain up to you, because it has been raining here every day. It's a shame you can't get some rain up there. But you still need a giant government, let's see, Army Corps of Engineers project to build a reservoir. That's what you need. I was just curious, did they have all these water shortage problems up there when they had the dams in place? Because, no, they did not. So they got rid of the dams and now you have water problems. I bet the fish don't even like it. Anyway, this is James, WW7ATS in Northeast Bellevue. Let's turn back to our net control for the Western Washington Amateur Television Society. Take it away, Dave.
WU7N, thanks with that. And for an ID, this is the Western Washington Amateur Television Society net on the 08 machine. And I'm going to say good evening, not all, but hello. Weather-wise here in Lake City, I got 39 degrees. It's overcast with... Boy, listening to everything. Saw some... afternoon, they showed some new pictures of that jet. And they thought that this wheels collapsed on the left side of the... We're talking about when... So I'll leave it up to the experts to guess that. Then the other accident that happened this afternoon. Two small private planes collided. One seemed to have no damage at all. The other one was a pilot. They reported two fatalities in that. So that's about pretty much what's happening there. And as the evening goes on. So, and again, condolences to Bob and Sparky. So that's about what's happening here. And I see we KB7 SDM.
And one more try, KB7 SDM. I'm not getting any audio from you, Ryan. I don't know. It's a possibility you might check if your tone is 103.5. So again, let's try Ryan again. KT7 SDM. Just getting a carrier and no audio. So let's go back up to the top and we'll start out again with Ron. KT7 QKU.
Okay, thanks Dave. Good evening everyone again, KD7QKU. Well, I guess I have iPads on my brain right now. I was kind of looking at them on my phone and I was listening to you guys, but I wasn't listening. Sorry to say. Let's see, what else is going on? Not a whole lot. I mean, I could tell you that Joanne had her sister and brother-in-law over for dinner last night. Joanne had pulled.
She used to work. There was only
7 or 8 people. She was having a good visit with them. So it wasn't so much of a visit for me. One guy, Ty, he motorcycle. game. He's got it all tore apart right now. He's put a new cam. It's got 3 or 4 cars. He's doing something. He's spending some money on it anyway. He likes to do those things. So, and I was telling him about that and showing him some pictures. So I heard, my grandson lives down in Dallas, and I heard that it was like 11 degrees down there, which is kind of unheard of. I thought, I didn't know it got that cold. And I mentioned it to his dad tonight, and he said, oh yeah, no, it was pretty cold down there. They were all worried about their pipes. They don't put their pipes in their houses, I guess, like we do exactly. They're more, possibility of freezing on them. Anyway, but so he was worried. I guess Alan was worried about his pipes. So I didn't look on my phone to see what the temperature is, but anyway, below freezing in Texas. So that was, I guess I was sort of surprised it was that cold. So I don't have about cremation for a cat. Man, that seemed like an awful lot of money to me. I guess you were going through your veterinary hospital or someplace to get that price. So wow, I don't know. We've had 2 or 3 dogs cremated. I'll have to go ask Joanne what we paid for it. We had them cremated in Bellevue. Maybe we paid that much, and I don't know. But don't know it. I'll go ask her right now because I'm really curious. We had her mom's dog Andy, and then we had I guess 2 dogs. We taken Joanne's mom's dog up and dumped some of the ashes on her grave, but the majority of the ashes are here. So I'll go check and see what we paid. So anyway, that's interesting. So back to net, KD7QKU.
KD7QKU, thanks with that. This is the Western Washington Amateur Television Society net on the 08 machine. I'm Dave, KD7ZYM. So let's pick up Lee, N7KC in Port Angeles.
Okay, this is N7KC, Lee in Port Angeles. Well, I looked it up. It was actually $835, but we did not get an itemized receipt. I guess we could have, but we forgot to get it or something like that, and I just paid with a credit card. And to be fair, that did include that was the whole schmear. So it was a blood test, it was x-rays, and, I think and whatever diagnostics they did with feeling and whatnot, and tax, that sort of thing. And so the bill was $835. Probably the cremation was probably more in the $500 bracket. But I didn't get an itemized receipt, and that was my fault. I should have gone back and got it. Okay, now what I got going on here, I keep track of our rain very, very carefully here. I've got a Stratus precision gauge, and it's really, really nice. And snow has always been my problem. And we have snow, I lose track of the precip because the snow overwhelms my system. It freezes in the funnels and that sort of thing, and I can't deal with it. So we've had 2 very small snowfalls this year so far that I've been able to deal with my present rain gauges, one that I made. And what I do is I weigh how much I get, and then I convert that to cubic inches, and then with the aperture of the funnel, I can compute the depth to 3 decimal places really easily. And so I got a metal funnel, stainless steel. It's out of the food industry somewhere. It's 30 liters this thing holds. And so this summer I'm going to build an enclosure for it that it'll sit down in, and then there'll be heaters inside to heat the funnel. And that's what the Weather Service does. They heat the funnels and all of their rain gauges in the wintertime. And the idea is that I'll have a cistern underneath it, and I I just weigh the cistern and compute then the number of cubic inches of, there's like 16.34 cc's per cubic inch of water, something like that. Anyway, it's all done on the spreadsheet that I've written, and then I'll be able to deal with snow, and also with large aperture gauges like this, they're just super accurate, and so it's a good little project for next summer. So there is my 30-liter, almost a 16-inch diameter aperture, and of course that 16 times 3 is 48. 48. It's got to be more than that. Oh, it's pi r squared is the area. Okay, so it's about E squared is 64 times 3. Oh, getting close to 200 square inches of aperture. You know, so this is going to be a lot of fun. I'll have a lunch report on it. Very, very nicely made from the food industry. And I don't have anything more, and I'm going to cut out now, so thanks everybody for putting up with me tonight, and I'll see you down the pipe. So, back to you, Dave, at 7KC.
Timeout.
In 7KC, thanks with that. And let's move.
K9PQ and Mothel.
I'm sorry, I may have timed it out. This is Lee in Port Haven. Back to you, Dave. I'll see you guys.
Connected. N7KC. N7KC. Disconnected.
Dave, we didn't hear anything you said because Lee was still using up the airwaves with this, with telling us that he thought he timed out, which he did do, but he only made it worse by coming back to tell us he timed out. Anyway, I've got it. And I think, let's see, nope, I don't have it on me. There we go. I forgot entirely to put it on me the last time. Someone's messing around on our repeater controller. I hope it's Wade. Wade, I kind of prefer you didn't do it while I'm trying to control things, but anyway, that's what's been getting my mind. I haven't been paying a lot of attention myself because I've been trying to deal with things that aren't working right here. They were over-automated and they didn't account for the fact that my IP changed, and I don't know how to fix that, and so I have to wait for it to do the automatic switch and then go back and override it and switch my own in. So anyway, it looks like we're there though. Cat cremation, well, because it's fresh in my mind, I can tell you I paid $415, but again, that was for the whole thing. I guarantee you that the vast majority of that cost for Lee was all of those tests and everything. They gave me an option of taking my cat home for free if I wanted to bury it myself. I chose the group cremation option, which was $125, and we didn't even get to the private cremation thing, which I didn't really have any interest in, but it would have been more expensive, of course. Interestingly, I didn't take them up on this, but they would do a clay impression of her paw if I wanted a paw print as part of the price of the group cremation. She said I'd have to bake it myself to set it. It would still be just, you would just do the clay thing and then just give it to me. And I briefly thought about it, and I thought, no, I've got lots of pictures and some video, and that's good enough. I don't need a paw print. What else? Yeah, I didn't hear K87SDM, but again, I was distracted. But if you're out there, welcome. And it looks like Lee is gone, but that's pretty cool about the heated funnel. Leave it to Lee. We got to get our rainfall to 3 decimal places. Thousandths of an inch. That's what we need. But good on Lee for doing it. And I'll be interested to see it when it's done. Richard, yeah, adjusting the machine, good luck. Good luck on that. Having gone through a bad taste in the mouth thing myself recently with some medication I was taking, man, that's rough. And so you are looking better though. So I hope you're doing well. You're looking better today than you were earlier. So I hope you're on the mend. And everyone else, I didn't have any notes because I was, as I say, I was kind of distracted. But okay, well that's it for me. I will send it back, K9PQ.
It's an amateur television society. Katie said.
Hey, well, let's see, my laptop is telling me the battery is running low, so I better get down here and grab the extension cord for it and plug it in. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, now we're in good shape. Well, thank you very much for the compliment, Bob. I wasn't looking for anything. I didn't think I looked better, but if you think so, then hell yeah, I look better. I feel great. I mean, everything I've been through, and then I couldn't be in such a nicer climate right now, considering. I was just looking at Pilot Point, which is where my sister-in-law lives, in just outside of Dallas. They're going to get down to 10. Believe it or not. I mean, unbelievable. I mean, geez. And Debbie, the YL, this is her sister we're talking about, sent a note to her, says, maybe you moved to the wrong place. Well, that went over like a lead balloon, you can imagine. So now there's a little squabble going on. That's the first cough in probably a month. So that's one thing I do not miss is the coughing. So what the heck? I put a cat down. Muffy are one of the two Maine Coons that we had, and it's really sad. I mean, it was very, very sad. I had Muffy in the box, took him to the vet, and paid, I think it was like, $59 or something like that. And he kissed me and said goodbye, and then came home, and I thought, God, I should have done better than that. So, I'm sorry, you guys. I only paid $59. That really that doesn't make me feel very good, because I should have done more. And so when Mika passes, wait a minute, is Mika going to bury me, or I'm going to bury Mika? I mean, sometimes you have to consider that. So I don't know. I do not know. But I know I'm going to think about it a little bit more carefully this time, because Mika definitely is my cat. K7ITS, Factor and Control.
K7ITX, thanks with that. And coming up next, Jim N7QO. The mic is yours.
N7QO, thank you, Dave. Well, let's see. I'm not getting any video. I can get one picture every time I reboot my decoder box.
but that's it. I'm not getting any sort of motion at all. I don't know if the television repeater is on a lower power setting or what's going on there, but I forgot to mention that last go around. But anyway, I know what everyone looks like, so I guess that's the way it goes. Ron, freezing weather in Texas. Yeah, you know, I was there, and I had a house, and believe it or not, and this was in the Houston area, the main water came into the house. A pipe came straight up out of the ground vertically, and it went up, I don't know, 3 or 4 feet, and then it went horizontally for about a foot, and then into the side wall of the house. And there were only maybe about 4 or 5 winters where I was concerned about there being a problem. The first time, of course, everything froze, but it didn't really do any sort of damage. But after that, I bought one of those electric heat tapes, and I wrapped it around the pipe and kept it plugged in during the winter. And that worked okay, but it seems like they only worked about 2 years or so, then they needed to be replaced. But there was one time it got really cold and it snowed, and while I was gone, and my wife happened to be gone as well, both of us were gone for several days. I'm not sure exactly what happened. I remember I was working and my wife went somewhere else, maybe a family issue or something. I don't remember anymore. But so I came home from work and walked in the front door of the house, and squish, squish, squish. I was walking on my carpet was just completely saturated with water, but the water wasn't running anywhere. So I'm going, okay, what's going on? Well, it turned out my next door neighbor saw water gushing out of the side wall of the house, and what they did, the foundation was a slab of concrete, and they did run like sewer lines down through the slab, but all of the electrical wiring went in the attic, and all of the water pipes went into the attic. And so a pipe broke in the attic and started gushing out the side of the house about 8 feet above ground. So my next door neighbor happened to see that, and knowing that we were gone, he went over and turned off the water supply to the house. So yeah, they do occasionally get some really nasty weather there, but it just seems like within the past year or two, the weather has been a whole lot more extreme everywhere than it has been. And I don't know, I remember I had a neighbor who lives here by me, and he moved out maybe 3 years ago or so. He moved down to Tucson, and I think it was last winter, I saw pictures of cactus with snow on it down in Tucson. It was, I don't know, we kind of teased him about that. But anyway, yeah, it does occasionally get cold, even in some of the southern states. Fortunately, not very often. Let's see, Lee, if you're still there listening, good night. Thanks for joining us. And Bob, yeah. Yeah, pets are, when I had a cat, no one was able to furnish any sort of medical insurance or anything like that. My cat died, and I took him home and buried him home, but I don't know, things are not inexpensive, and that's true for all medical care, whether it's us or whether it's our pets. That's just the way it works, I guess. Anyway, back to you, Dave, and 7QO.
W7N in Northeast Bellevue.
Okay, thank you, Dave. This is James, WW7ATS Northeast Bellevue. I'm getting kind of a rumble on the audio output, Peter. Okay, everybody else is getting the same thing. Okay, I just want to make sure it wasn't just me. Well, my goodness, $415 for cat cremation. You know, that's the kind of prices I'd expect to pay to get rid of the random homeless person that's sleeping on your lawn or something. That's expensive. But anyway, well, that hasn't happened to me ever, really. No, not ever. Oh, Bob, thanks for the switching. I've been trying to follow the text and everything. Thank you for the work you're putting into that. I'm sure we'll get it down one of these days. About the time we decide to convert over to holographic projection, we'll have it down solid. Texas, yes, cold weather in Texas. I've lived up the very, I call it the bottom of the toilet. Most people call it the bottom of the panhandle of Oklahoma. Wichita Falls up there is four big giant freeways come together in one spot, and that's its claim to fame. I guess that's why there's a city there. And I recall, gosh, I was probably 8th or 9th grade, probably about 8th grade, something like that. I remember some neighbors and I, we went out to a lake out there, and the only good thing I can say about it is at least the insects and ticks did not eat us alive, but it was so incredibly cold. I'm not sure we really got out of the tent very much, and had like 12 layers of clothing on and was inside the tent, and it was not only very sub-zero, but there was like a 15, 20 mile an hour wind just all the time, and then it would gust up to about 30. So that really taught me just how cold could get, I think. That was the first time I certainly had been out camping in any kind of weather like that. No snow, but the lake was frozen solid, but nobody wanted to walk out there for risk of falling in, because, I mean, if you got wet out there, we didn't know exactly how we were going to deal with that. I decided at that point that, if you're ever going out to do cold weather stuff, clothing is key. You just can't get warm enough. You just have to have the right clothes. And technology's come a long way in 50 years on that. They got all kinds of magic fabrics and stuff that really do a pretty good job. Well, I can see it's about 7 minutes to the top of the hour, so this is James, WU7N in Northeast Bellevue. Thank you all very much for tuning in tonight. I'm going to turn it back to Dave, our net control for the Western Washington Amateur Television Society.
WU7N, thanks for that. And this is Dave, Katie's. Has been sort of video for digital. New thing with the decoder for the receiver. About every minute and a half or 2 minutes, it shuts down completely, then comes back on. So the red lights, the digital lights, black. What's going on with that? Something new that popped up this evening. But I have friends in Arizona that had a cat that passed with that, but who knows if it was to another burial ground. So don't know what's going on in the veterinary world. So that's what's happening here in Lake City. Again, the temperatures dropped down another degree. It's 38 degrees out now, according to my thermometer. So with that, I'm going to see if we can pick up SDM. Brian, are you there?
This is Ryan, KB7SDM. I'm just about ready to get headed out to work, but just wanted to say good evening to everybody, and still saving up for some equipment. And I think I found a laptop that I'm going to try to put Linux on and see if I can do the receive on the RTL SDR one of these weeks. But thanks for doing the net, and we'll see you next time. KB7SDM.
KB7SDM, you keep that very clear and full quality. Well, up to the top of the list we go. To Ron, KD7QKU.
The repeaters. I was looking to see what we paid for cremation. I would imagine we, paid $150 or something. It was done quite a few years ago, which would have seemed to be quite a bit at the time. So anyway, we had one dog buried in the backyard, but the poor old dog, I don't know where he's at now. They pulled a lot, maybe they re-landscaped it, so it was a golden retriever. We called her Sam. So anyway, poor old Sam, she's probably scattered all over now. Okay. All right, you guys, nice to hear from you, nice to see you. Annette, KD7QKU.
Thanks with that. Going back to Bob, K9PQ and Bothell.
Well, you guys, with all the talk about Texas and the chilly weather, it brought back memories of keeping an eye on the jet stream in Chicago. Something, everybody's heard of the jet stream, but before I moved to Chicago, I didn't really even care what it was. It's just something that happened. But when you're living in the Midwest, if you're north of the jet stream or south of jet stream, makes a huge difference. If you're north of the jet stream in the winter, it's extremely cold. If you're south of the jet stream in the summer, it's extremely hot and humid. And Chicago seems to be perfectly placed to be below the jet stream in the summer and above the jet stream in the winter. So one of the comments, we've had mayors that have made colorful comments. I say Chicago. One of them was Chicago. We go to extremes, talking about the weather. But the best of all, I'm blanking his name. He was very famous, Chicago, about the 60s. Very famous mayor, rather, of Chicago in the 60s. And he said, the police aren't there to create disorder. The police are there to preserve disorder. And with that, I will say good night. Back to that K9PQ.
Go to Richard, K7IT.
We're looking forward to a hot stretch next week. We're going to be in the 80s. The 80s, and I guess that's not unusual for this time of year for Phoenix, Arizona. It's unusual for me, and it'll be great to have my sister coming visiting from eastern Washington, where it's very, very cold. She's going to substitute for Debbie the YL as a caregiver while Debbie gets things straightened out in Kent. So big move. I've already bought my airline ticket. Row 4, yeah, which costs extra, to say the least. Anyway, that's March 25th, so I'm really excited about it. I figure I'm going to need all the help I can get with my medical equipment, so I better be close to the front of the plane. So that's what I'm doing. So with that, everyone have a great night. I'll say 73, K7ITX, back to net control.
K7ITX, thanks with that. And this is the Western Washington Amateur Television Society. Net on the 08 machine would like to thank the SeaTac Repeater Association for letting us use WW7ATS
147.08.
of 103.5 for this net. KD7's net. Good evening all.